administrators with the code of conduct, that's obviously our first choice. But sometimes when that spills over, the SROs have to generate police reports and we have to make juvenile complaints. Now in doing that, there's a number of laws on the books, but I'm going to touch on just 4 that seem to be most popular. And I'm not just talking about in the Henry County District, but if you just look at statewide and nationwide, I think you will agree with me. So one is drugs. Drugs, but they don't bring just your normal drugs into school. They vape. I want parents to be aware of vapes. Vapes are small. They come in all sizes. You can get them at just about any gas station now. Just pop right in, grab you a Coke, and get you a vape on the way to school. No, they shouldn't be selling them to them. To answer that question, in case that popped in your head, no, it's illegal to sell to them. You have to be 21 years age or older. But do they get them? Yes. Why? Because we find them. The teachers find them. The administrators find them. Carrying weapons on school property. Not going to have that. No weapon of any kind. No pepper spray. No tasers. No guns of any kind. No plastic guns. None of anything that looks like a gun. No Orbeez guns that's been painted black with the orange tip taken off of it. None of that. I say all that because do we find those, and are those found across the United States? Yes. They get very creative. They take a plastic gun, make it look like a real gun. We take that as a weapon, take it very seriously. We treat it just the same. Fighting. Fighting's a big one. It's all over the place. And usually, it's not just a fight between 2 people or more. It usually involves a lot of people. And it disrupts school. A lot of those can be handled by the code of conduct. Some of those we have to get involved in and take further action. And last but not least, distributing obscene material. Happens. We don't want it to happen. We don't want our sons and daughters to be exposed to that, but they are. Let's talk real. They are. That's what happens. In a moment, I'm going to touch on a few more things that'll kind of come back to that. So I want to talk about how do we kind of stop that, or how do we get more involved? Well, we work very closely. We talked about partnerships. We work very closely with the district attorney's office. Nicole Eck is the district attorney for the juvenile system. She's the one we work with closely. Every one of our SROs, including us, most of us have her cell phone number. We call her all the time. Keep her informed about what's going on. Her statement, and I agree 100%, early intervention is the focus. Trying to get ahead of making sure that a student doesn't have continuous problems and doesn't wind up reoccurring back in her office. Things we can do. Mediation. She likes to do a lot of mediation. That means getting the parents involved, talking, counseling, finding out if the student needs counseling. Any kind of pretrial diversion type programs that they can get them in to keep them from having to go to court. And of course, first offender. Everybody may know about first offender. Same thing for juvenile, just different parameters that involves in the first offender. And that's just some of the stuff with legal and prevention that we've talked about.
Great, thank you. I actually just want to add one more thing, and that is our introduction of what we refer to as the Henry Cares Check-In. A Henry Cares Check-In is an attempt to more regularly find a connection point with the young people in our schools. There are 3 questions on that Henry Cares Check-In that can result in a very immediate response and support provided by our mental health and wellness facilitator. We ask if you have a caring adult at home, do you have a caring adult at school that you can count on, do you have a friend you can count on. If a student doesn't answer yes to those 3 questions, there's a real opportunity to provide some intervention, some support, and to really wrap around young people. Ultimately, keeping kids safe starts with all of us being teachers and counselors and coaches and caring adults in young people's lives. And it's really where we want to wrap up our panel the material we prepared for our panel. And that is to really talk about what this looks like when we all do this together. Because a community of young people depends on a community of adults who really understand the ways that we can lean in together to take care of youth today. So as we jump into this last section that we have, I'm going to turn over to Major Maddox to get this part started.
Yeah, I think I may have said it a minute ago, but I'm going to say it again. Safety starts at home. Parents have to be parents. I know it's hard to hear. I'm not calling you out, but parents have to be parents.
Parents gotta be parents.
Most of what we see as SROs, most of what we see as SROs doesn't start inside the school somewhere. It starts somewhere at home, maybe. Somewhere in the neighborhood, somewhere.
Social media.
Maybe on social media.
Yep.
Maybe some other avenue. Maybe a sporting event. Maybe something. I don't know. That's where it usually starts. And what happens? It starts to fester. Then they get on social media, and it festers some more, and it starts getting worse. They start going to apps. They start going to different chat rooms, and they start communicating on what they're going to do, how they're going to do, and so forth and so on. And then guess where it explodes? At school. Why? Because we all come back together at school. That's where everybody winds up. That's where all the people that don't like each other, whatever's going on, they all wind up. So then it happens at school. So how can you help? What I said a while ago, got to have your help, right? You're the number one piece of this puzzle. We're all pieces of the puzzle. You're the number one piece. Check your kid's phone.
Right.
Check it. Look at it. What are they doing? Who are they talking to? Internet. So they don't always have to have a phone to get on the internet. They got tablets, they got computers, they got everything else. They probably got a drop phone that you don't know about. Been there, done that as a father. I'm talking to you as a father and a police officer right this second. Been there, done that. Found a couple of drop phones. Social media. The card you have. If you don't have a card, Johnny, just hold up the back of that card. This is just one of many. You can Google this. 15 websites my kids don't need to be on. What 15, or not websites, I'm sorry. 15 apps my kids don't need to be on. What are apps my kids shouldn't be around? Google anything like that. You're going to come up with something. This is just one of many we found. Look at all those apps on there. How many of your kids have those on their phone? Mine. Now, am I saying that every kid that has that app on the phone is doing something wrong? Absolutely not. No, I'm not saying that. But we need to be aware that those apps can be used for the wrong things. Snapchat is the number one. That's the number one app that we find most of what circulates and causes an issue that the SROs deal with comes from Snapchat. Why? Quick brief on Snapchat. And I'm not a Snapchat expert, but what I've learned as a parent, they'll snap it, it's a picture, it's supposed to be gone in 15 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that, or when you open it, when you close it's supposed to be gone. But guess what, parents? The person that's receiving it, when they look at it, they screenshot it.
Yeah.
It's not gone anymore.
Right.
It's still there now. And guess what happens? It's saved in that person's camera roll, and now they send it to somebody else. So your child thinks, or your student thinks, oh, I only sent it on Snapchat and it's already gone. I can't show you, Mom. I can't show, there's nothing on my camera roll. They're right, it's not. But it's on somebody else's now. Watch your kid's phone, please. That's the one thing I ask. If, like Ms. Edwards said, if you've listened to me for a few minutes, the one thing I want you to take away from this meeting from me, check your kid's phone. That's the most important thing I can offer on that.